Hello, everybody. This is Nathan from the X-Class organization. We'll be here doing our Winter X-Class Challenge today. So we're looking forward to some X-Class racing in the new sim here from Rotor Rush. And I've got Nigel here with me. Nigel, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Rotor Rush and the new X-Class capability.
Yeah, good evening, Nate. It's an honour to be here, and I'm here for the first ever X-Class online esport finals, live finals, and it's a real honour to be a part of that because we're making history today, Nate, as you know. You guys
Definitely.
have invited me to commentate on this event. I'm proud to be here. I'm from Rotor Rush itself, a part of that, along with my partner Ray, who's in the background somewhere,
Making sure things go
running
right.
some of the systems with you. And when we got the opportunity to add X-Class into Rotor Rush, for us it was a no-brainer because we've seen the explosion that X-Class has had over the last year in the US, and it's super exciting. So when we had the opportunity to put it into Rotor Rush, we jumped at the chance, as you know, and this is the first live event online using that system.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be using our new speedway track that we've modeled after one of the speedway tracks we've been racing here in the States. So we're going to go ahead and run a little video now. You'll see a little bit of that, and then we'll come back and have a couple seconds before we start the first heat. So looking forward to that. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Field starting to punch up. Coming around on 4, posted her stump off. Green flag waving this time by field is off and rolling. Stump gonna lead him around from lap number 1. Controller staying close through the heat races. They were on each other, so gonna be a little bit of cat and mouse here as they work through lap number 1. Coming across the line 13.6, 120 miles an hour. The lap time speed back and forth. They go through to the high. Sorry, Controller to the high side. Stump off, fights back now. Purple people leader to the inside. Runs a little wide on the exit. Controller has his stump off, wants it back. Coming out of complete lap number 3, 2 laps remaining. 137 miles an hour. Bit of a bobble there for stump off. Costner falls out of the sky in the dirt. It's going to be an easy win for Controller as he's coming around lapping the field now. 3 laps in the books for Controller. On the backstretch, the blue configured leader last time by only 122 miles an hour on that lap time clock. To the high side for Cotola, 11.3 that time by, white flag waving for him. Coming out of 3 and 4, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for X-Class A main winner, Colby Kurtola.
All right, we are coming back here. We are got our first heat of pilots lined up. All right, we're waiting on, looks like we got a full grid of eight, so we're getting ready here to start in a minute, Nigel. Looks like we got Aether on the red drone on spot 1. We got Zed DRTC in spot 2 with the green. We got RC Flyer R1 on 3 in the purple. FPR Dan 1 on 4 in the white. Hosu FPV in yellow on seat 5. Tromful in blue on seat 6. In 7, we got Mystigate in purple. And finally, 8, well, looks like we're maybe we'll have our 8th pilot, maybe not. I saw Conahy in there for a second. We'll kind of hold here for just a second. Looks like we got a pretty good turnout, you know. And Nigel, none of these pilots are from the USA. This is a fully international crew of pilots that we've got this time. Really looks to be an interesting competition with all these pilots who haven't been flying in the active races.
Yeah, I mean, US is way ahead of the rest of the world with the X class, and you've had a full year of leagues that we over the other side of the pond have got to catch up on. And I think it just goes to show that these finalists, none of them are from the US. So that just shows how keen people are to try X class and to get involved with X class.
Yeah, it's definitely been growing. Really excited to see the interest spreading beyond just here in the States. We knew we had to kind of lead the way and set the example, show everybody how we could do it. But absolutely excited to see this spreading beyond this country, around the world. We want to see this growing everywhere. We really think it's an exciting form of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally think it is the future of drone racing. There's certainly the professional side, because so much easier to see the drones, and the sound from them is incredible. I absolutely love, especially when they power up into the corners, and the ability to be able to put sponsors onto the canopies, etc. It just brings drone sports to the next level, and I think it's what we've been waiting for. So I'm super excited to see where X Class can go in the next couple of years, because I think it's going to take over. I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're looking to, from the sim side, we're looking to add more tracks. We've already got a second track, the city track in the sim, and we're looking to do some more releases throughout the year of other tracks. So we'll be having events for those. I think we're getting ready to head into the first heat here. I think like we might be missing one pilot, but I think they're going to move ahead anyways.
So race directors aborted that one, just I think to try and bring
that 8th pilot in, maybe.
Yeah, Conahy, which is Jamie Capello, one of the two heads of FPV Mexico. His
Absolutely.
wife Angela, I'm sure a lot of people will know. They do great work in Mexico. They're working with academies and schools to help bring more people into the sport, which is so important. We need new blood in the sport, and that's great. And they're doing a fantastic job out there.
Absolutely.
There's the grid again, and he's back.
All right.
Back with us, so I think we should be getting a race soon.
I think they're ready to get going here. Here we go. Countdown.
And they're away.
Yeah, there they are. They're off. Looks like we've got a major lead with blue and purple there in the front.
Yeah.
Look like some trailers, though. We're getting first lap times here.
RC Flyers in the lead there with an 8-second lap. And right behind him is FPV Dan number 1 with a 15.3 lap. Third place, Tromful. And in fourth place, Athea. Fifth place is Zed. Sixth is Conahy. Mystigate right at the back. He is actually used to doing the tiny whoops most. So we have Hosu FPV in last place now, with Mystigate moving up, but still in the lead now. It's RT Flyer. FPVR Dan has moved up to second place.
Yeah, looks like a pretty solid set of heats. Oh, got a couple pilots getting off the track there. But there we go. Final times. There we go.
Yeah, so RC Flyer took that first one with FPV Dan doing a great job moving up the pack there and taking second place. Tromful took third. Athea took fourth. Conahy in fifth. Zed took 6th. Hosu in 7th, Mr. Gay at the back. He needs to remember that he's not flying a tiny whoop now, maybe, and that these are much bigger. So, yeah, first heat done, and the points will be added.
Yeah, that was a good round. It was a good first round there. All right, race is over. Looks like they'll be headed back into the pits. All right, that was a good first round. Looks like we had one pilot off the pace there, right? But it looks like a pretty solid race from the top 6 or 7 pilots there. It was going pretty good.
Yeah, very tight group in it. And I think some people think really easy when it's just an oval track, but it's not. I mean, the flight characteristics in the sim are very, very close to the real thing. We've had pilots, X-Class pilots, testing it and giving us the feedback, and it's as close as it could possibly be to the real thing. And I've noticed when I've been flying the sim that you very much tend to try and rise when you power up into those corners, and it's about controlling that and getting a good smooth run around that corner.
Absolutely.
These pilots have obviously been practicing because of a really good grouping at the front there.
Yeah, for sure. I've flown a few laps in the sim myself. It is tricky, absolutely maintaining the altitude with that soft edge on the ceiling. Height ceiling is tricky, right? If you fly something like a car park or something like that, you have that hard ceiling on top, and it's really obvious when you're getting close to that. On this track, it's not that way, so you basically have to hug the ground really tight throughout the entire race. And as you were saying, those corners are critical as you're, at that point kind of rotating on 3 axes. I find ultimately, your pitch is mostly solid, but you're rolling into that turn and then yawing around it as well to try to keep it as tight as possible and trying to keep your speed as high as possible. It's absolutely a tricky maneuver, and to be able to do it 6 times exactly correct is no small feat.
No, absolutely, and I think in the real racing as well, there's height restrictions, obviously for safety reasons and stuff, and keeping that race line and that altitude is probably for me, it's been the most challenging thing flying it in the sim. I don't own an X-Class yet, but I'm starting my build, so I'll be joining the ranks of real X-Class.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Your margin for error with these is pretty sharp because, once you go a little too far, you can seriously, they're so heavy and they have so much mass, and the speed, you can be pushing nearly 100 miles an hour with these pretty easily. And when you go down, you can go down pretty hard.
I think we're going to see different racing as well because, your mini drone, you can hit the ground and tumble along and you're happy because you'll change your prop and you're back up again. With an X-Class, $800,000 you've put into it, and they don't take to crashing quite as well as a Mini. So maybe that will change the way people race and maybe race a little bit more conservatively. I don't know. We'll see that as the leagues go. And I guess if you're a sponsored pilot and it's not your cost, that might change things also.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely think it caters to team and sponsored pilots. It's absolutely part of the strategy behind X-Class. Certainly, there's this segment of DIY, individual builder pilots as well. We love that. We're going to always have that mix and that kind of wild card, which is great. But absolutely, we think teams and larger group-sponsored race groups is really going to be the key here. You can do a lot of knowledge sharing that way. A lot of people can back each other up as far as managing the pits and helping you repair in between rounds, things like that. It's a great team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to have a whole different dynamic. I think there's a lot of tactics that will come into X-Class as well, rather than it just being down to pilot. There's going to be we've got the next race starting.
Yep, here we go. We're off.
And so it's RC Fly that's in the lead again.
Wow, yeah, dominating.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on a different system here. I do apologize. I'm unable to see the racing at the moment.
All right, we got RC Fly in the lead with FPV Dan in second, Zed DRTC in third, and Conahy in fourth. All right. They're on their 4th lap now. We're working on 5th lap. Looks like RC Flyer really dominating again. Yep, definitely.
So yeah, I see Flyer taking the win there in FPV. Dan in second place, which is the same as the last race, but this time Zed in third place. Kanahay moved up this time in fourth place, and Mr. Gate has had a much better race this time, coming in last in the last race. He's now in fifth place. He's starting to get the hang of this. Also in sixth, Athea in seventh, and Tromful in eighth place.
Yeah,
Still
definitely.
all
That
to
was a
play for, but
great turnout for
sorry, go on.
Conahay there. He definitely had an improvement from the race before. Definitely looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as they settle in, we've had this for. I've commentated a lot of the mini class races as well, and speaking to pilots afterwards, they feel the same anxiety and nerves flying online competitions as they do in the real world. Because the world is watching them, and it's you've got to do it now. I've got to race now. If I crash, I'm going to lose this race. And that same anxiety exists. So as they settle in, just like in the real world, the nerves will settle a bit, and the racing will improve, and they'll start pushing themselves a little bit more. So it's funny how the esport mirrors the real world in many more ways than people might realize.
Yeah, for sure. I know definitely when I had my 5 time trials to try in for this qualify for this winter challenge, I definitely had a tough time making it count on those 5. I had put in definitely faster laps when I was just playing around, when there's no limit. But yeah, once you have a limited number of trials, it definitely becomes a different challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we will find is, as people become more experienced, in the real world, that will transpose onto the esports, but that works vice versa. And this is why in schools at the moment, we give Rotor Rush free to schools anywhere in the world. We're in many, many schools around the world, and they're using Rotor Rush to teach young people to fly drones, but also to race, because they get that first experience of the nerves of a race and what real competition's like before they then turn up at a live race at their local chapter. And I think that's important, because a lot of people, they build up to this, they enter their first real race and they take the drones, they've worked on them, they've practiced, and sometimes it's just the nerves that can kill it for them. And that gaining that experience on live online racing is important, I think.
Absolutely. The sim, I've been a proponent of the learning how to fly FPV on sims from since 2013, 2014 when I first started. And back then you only had basically real flight was your only option, and it didn't support quads very well. Right. So absolutely now, yeah, one, to learn how to fly in a simulator as a kind of first stage into your learning process. You can step up into tiny whoops from there, to have the physical appeal. And then certainly as time progresses into larger and larger quads, I think that's absolutely a great progression. And yeah, to be able to have a racing, also to be able to simulate the racing side of that, absolutely is so good for working on those nerves. This is such a mental sport. However, there is the physicality of your hands and your fingers. And if you can't manage your stress and your adrenaline, and that gets out of control, it will absolutely affect your ability to fly cleanly and consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also gives you the opportunity to try things that you may be fearful to try with your real drone, and through fear of crashing, or you just don't have the chance to get out there and burn through the battery packs. Try it in the sim, practice it, get that muscle memory between yourself and your own controller. And we always recommend using your usual controller with the sim, so that you're always feeling that, so that when you take away from the sim and you go into the field, you've got that same feeling in your hands. I would personally recommend that people plug if they've got HDMI input into the goggles, that they actually use the goggles and not the screen, and they're getting the full feel of so when they go out to the field, that practice in the sim translates to what they then can do in the field.
Absolutely. Yeah, the immersion that you get from being in the goggles is a key part of the experience and your kind of learning curve. Absolutely. So I think they're ready to start this next round here. Here we go.
10 seconds.
And straight away, again, it's RC Flyer in the lead, the red quad this time.
Yeah, he's
And
dominating
it's
again.
FPV Dan again, second. So, yeah, them three pilots dominating this heat again. RC Flyer in the lead, FPV Dan in second, with Zed in third place. Kanahay now moved up again. He's now in fourth place, but it's really tight at the front there. There's no real leaders. It's just that few seconds between them. And FPV Dan now takes the lead, and it's back to RC Flyer takes the lead again.
Back and forth.
These two are absolutely battling out at the front. This is wonderful. There's a bit of a gap between those and third and fourth place, which is Zed
first and
Kanahay.
second were tight. Look at that, 1/1000th of a second off.
Fantastic. Now this racing is starting to get like real racing now. I mean, a real battle between those two. So this time, FPV Dan took the win in the end, and he managed to hold it till he got through the finishing line. RC Flyer took second, Zed third, Kanahay in fourth, Tromful fifth, Thea sixth, Hosu in seventh, and Mr. Gay back down into last place, taking eighth place. But if you look at the times from the first place with 42 seconds for the whole race and 45 seconds for last place, that shows how close the whole racing is.
Yeah.
And it is down to thousandths of a second, which is really exciting.
Yeah, they were super close there, right? Definitely a couple groups, right? You had that leader group of two, but then certainly a big pack in the middle there of four, and then, a couple pilots each time kind of struggling to stick that line. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And obviously, in the sim racing at the moment, these pilots are all racing the same. It's a sim drone, and it's a generic one. So they're all racing the very same drone. So there's no difference. In the live racing, of course, you'll have that difference between which battery packs are they carrying, how heavy is the drone, what motors are they using, how have they set their the various settings within the flight controllers, etc. So there will be more differences in the live racing than the sim racing at this stage, until we start adding in some of those variables. Now, obviously, you can change the different rates within the sim,
right.
And there may be some differences there of the rates that they've changed, but it's an even playing field. So it is more in the sim down to how well they take them corners, how well they manage their throttle controls, and smooth flying. So I think you will see a lot more. It's a better example of how good the pilot is within the sim than compared to how good the pilot versus the setup that they've got in real racing.
Right, absolutely, yeah. It's almost like spec racing in that sense, right? The
absolutely.
fact that it's not in the real world allows you to even minimize those variables, right? So absolutely, it becomes really focused on the individual differences in skill of those pilots, their muscle memory and everything. So it's really that's great level playing field. I love that. It makes for this really tight racing, like we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think they're going into the next heat.
It's 10 seconds.
Yep, and they're all on the grid. RC Flyer in the red this time. Doesn't go straight into the lead. In the lead is FPV Dan, first of all. RC Flyer, again, that battle between first and second between FPV Dan and RC Flyer. And it's FPV Dan that's quickest this time. And in third place and fighting for second place with RC Flyer is Zed. Zed having an absolutely brilliant race here.
Yeah, totally dominating.
Behind them is Thea. Dan having an amazing race here. I mean, and Zed, I think he's found his form. Zed's found his form here, really catching up. But it is FPV Dan and RC Flyer first and second again. But I think Dan has managed to get that lead that RC Flyer couldn't catch up with.
Nice, yep.
He got out of I think he just got off the blocks so well and smooth and into that first corner that there was nothing that RC Flyer could do about that. But Zed had a great battle with RC Flyer there and really showing that he's now settling in and flying really well. Thea took fourth place there. That was a cool race. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, definitely. They're really getting it nailed down. It's really nice to see the difference here. So while we're queuing up for this next heat, I want to take a minute here and just mention our sponsors who have helped make this possible for us. Quality Freight Rate is one of our key sponsors. We've got prize packages coming from Kick-Ass Beef Jerky and Liquid Nitro. One of our key partners is Get FPV. You'll be seeing much more from us with them in the near future as we open up our online store with Get FPV for X-Class equipment and frames and parts. We're partnering with Uvify. You've maybe seen recent posts online about one of their new frames coming out. They have more. That's not the only one. We'll be seeing more about that in the near future. T-Motor has been partnering with us, designing new motors for X-Class. They've been one of the leaders in motors for this size from the beginning for the past 2 years, but they've really taken a renewed interest and are designing specifically to our needs, starting to head up into some great motors for 8S. So it's really getting exciting from them. Master Air Screw, as folks know, we've got a custom X-Class prop coming from Master Air Screw. That 13 by 12 by 3, that thing's a beast. So we got more coming from them. They got new props, new lighter props in development. Viking UAS, designing some great frames. They got the super lightweight Wasp frame that folks have been flying, really liking that one. And then a couple of our sponsors who have been with us from the beginning. We've got Von Drone. I'm part of Team Von Drone. Rainer von Weber has really been a great innovator for this organization and for the whole community. So he's really happy to have him recognized. And of course, SF Drone School, Werner and our team over there. That's our secret R&D headquarters in the Bay Area. So it's really the spot where we're in testing out all the new prototypes and working with our manufacturing partners to bring new equipment to market. So it's really an exciting lineup we've got there. Looks like they're just about ready to go into the next round here.
Yeah, so it's RC Flyers in the red again and FPV
10
Dan in the green, if you're following this.
All right, here we go.
And there are the beeps. One side a bit early there. I'm not sure if that'll take time off. It automatically penalises people if they do that. But again, it's FPV Dan in the lead with Zed in second place and RC Flyer in third place. So that Zed, it's proving he's settling down. RC Flyer's managed to retake second place with FPV Dan, though. He's got a bit of a lead now. It's only a few seconds, but it's enough to keep the other two off his back, but they're right behind him. So it's flicking between Zed and RC Flyer. Will Zed manage to get second place for the first time? Really bump his score up. RC Flyer's retaken second place. Kanahay doing really well in fourth. Mr. And FPV Dan managed to take the win. RC Flyer only just managing to keep Zed away from that second spot and the points associated, but only a few thousandths of a second between them. That battle between second and third place between RC Flyer and Zed is fantastic. But Dan really has found his form now. And he's won the last 3 races. So doing extremely well.
Yeah, I think we got two more rounds here before we get into final. No, sorry, one more. I'm getting correction. One more round, and then we're into finals, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. These are finals. Boy, look at me. I'm behind the curve here. So this is our last race, ultimately. Well, definitely, that's been some exciting stuff. Yeah, we've seen pretty consistent split in the field, right? Pretty consistent top 3. Yeah. In the middle of the field, definitely been some moving around. It's been exciting to see the pilots kind of tweaking their lines and really getting it nailed down. I mean, it's a tight grouping.
Well, let's have a look at the points. I've got the points up here that they've got so far. So currently in the lead of the finals is FPV Dan with 24 points. RC Flyers just behind him in second place with 21 points. Zed in third place with 18 points. And Kanahay with 14 points in fourth place. Fifth, Tromful with 10. Equal fifth, should I say, with Athea with 10 points. And you've got Hosu with 8 and Mr. Gate with 3. But the top 3, any one of them could still win this. And Kanahay could still get up into the top 3 or even take second place based on those points. So it's all to play for.
Yeah, definitely. Still interesting. Definitely close. All right. All right. I think they're getting ready to start it up here. Final round.
Pilots, 10 seconds.
and they're away, really tight group. It's getting harder and harder to commentate on this because they are so close together. But it is RC Flyer now that's in the lead. Maybe he's seen now that he really needs to pick up his pace with FPV Dan in second place. And believe it or not, Trumpful in third place. He's been back.
They're back and forth in first and second.
Fourth place. This is crazy. Where is Zed? Zed and Kanahay having an absolute nightmare in this race. And it's Trumpful in third place, Mr. Gate in fourth place. And we've got FPV Dan leading again now. He's overtaken RC Flyer. We found that form. RC Flyer really battling with him, though, and hoping to get those top points.
Ooh, Dan pulled it out.
But Dan did it. But look at Trumpful and Mr. Gate in third and fourth. Where did that come from?
Oh, Kanahay off the pace in 8. Oh, that was tough for Kanahay.
Yeah. Zed and Kanahay just had an absolute nightmare there. Maybe they were thinking somewhere else. They missed the beeps, or I don't know. But FPV Dan managing to keep that winning form with RC Flyer in second place, Trumpful in third, and Mr. Gate in fourth place. That's opened things right up.
All right, so I think that's our final round. Let's get the results here. All right, I'm going to run a little sizzle reel for us here while we look at those totals.
Coming around completing one. Parts go flying. Top to bottom now. Inside, outside, Blue Stumble has the lead. Kurtola in the 2 spot. Then it is Colosso in that 3 spot. Check that Kelsey Allen with the red light. Into the 3 spot now. Side by side action here as they come out of 4th. Coming around completing lap at number 4. Stumble takes it, but they still got some action in them. Keep it clean, pilots. We still got our main event to go. That is going to do it for the field, ladies and gentlemen. Give these pilots a round warm of applause. Bring them in, shut them down. No more laps. Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe Stumbaugh, Kobe Kurtola.
All right, Nigel. That was definitely an exciting round. You want to give us our final standings?
Yeah, absolutely. That last race for me was the big one. I really enjoyed that. And well done to all the pilots that took part. But these are the official points. In finishing in 8th place, but a very proud 8th place, I think, because he finished 4th in the last race, was Mr. Gate. So he finishes on 8 points in 8th place. In 7th place was Hosu FPV with 12 points. Just above him on 13 points was Athea. Kanahay was in 5th place with 15 points. In 4th place was Trumpful with 16 points. And now our top 3. Finishing 3rd, a well-deserved 3rd place. He raced like an absolute demon. It was Zed DRTC with 20 points. In 2nd place, despite putting up an absolute battle to try and keep the winner away, but unable to do so, was RC Flyer with a well-deserved 28th and a well-deserved 2nd place. but the winner, with 4 points ahead of the second place with 32 points, was FPVR Dan, who took the win and is the world's first ever winner of a live X-Class esport competition. Congratulations, FPVR Dan.
Absolutely, that's a great. And we've got a prize pool of $200 to be split amongst the top 3 finishers. And we've got sponsor packages coming from Kick-Ass Beef Jerky and Liquid Nitro. I want to just take a quick minute to close out again and run down our sponsors: Quality Freight Rate, Get FPV, Uvify, T-Motor, Master Airscrew, Viking UAS, Von Drone, and SF Drone School. This is X-Class Drone Racing and Nigel from Rotor Rush. We've been happy to have this here with you, and we'll be closing out now. We'll see you in the future with our next track, most likely the X-Class City track, but we'll see. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.